If you see last 8 months, Russian oil compared to last year about 10% less. Now Indian refiners like Indian Oil, BPCL, HPCL, and Reliance, they are a little in dilemma. This will go for temporary measure. Maybe it from 1.9 to we can come down to 1.6 million barrels per day from Russia, and there is a increase of booking of oil from US refinery.
Naira refineries, the former SR
Now,
refinery.
they had a real problem. Their oil has supposed to go to product has supposed to go to Eastern Europe. Now this they have find out some via media that product will go to Western Africa near Nigeria or go to Malta and then ship change and goes to Europe. Reliance is switching over to other source in Middle East and US. Still, India is a dilemma for putting order to US because there will be cost will be increased.
Hi, this is Pratim Ranjan Bose, and you are watching Podcast with Pratim. I have with me Mr. N K Mitra, a very prominent oil professional. He has been director in almost all oil companies, mostly upstream, Reliance, ONGC, GSPC, etc. SR. Probably you were also in SR, right? So we will discuss today about the crude oil procurement strategy of India. As you are aware that there has been an issue created by the US on Indian purchase of Russian crude, which we were of course purchasing at a discounted price. That was an attraction. Now, there are certain, so let me move to the questions. The first question is, there are certain reports which if I gather correctly, is that the refiners, Indian refiners, have placed less order for Russian crude. The question is, are they replacing it by, I assume that they are replacing it by American crude. The question is whether this is a short-term strategy or whether we are going back to the earlier regime. Before 2022, you were not a big purchaser of Russian crude. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I little more into background that India produced about 30 million metric ton of oil last year, and they are imported to 232,000 million ton of oil imported. Out of that, about 34% oil came from Russia. 34, and India got benefit of $132 billion of that one. Due to during COVID and Ukraine war, there was a little bit of profitability of gaining the Indian refinery. Now, recent past various tariff restriction by American on Russian oil. So there is a dynamic at virtually it is a floating. You can understand that last month the Indian refinery has a shutdown. So generally, India would import about 20 million metric tons of oil per month. So last month it was less, but before that in September 19.98 million metric tons, about 20 tons are there. Out of that, about Russian oil 34%. If you see 8 months Russian oil compared to last year about 10% less. Now Indian refiners like Indian Oil, BPCL, HPCL, and Reliance, they are a little in dilemma. So they are generally transport oil from Baltic Sea or Black Sea or Vladivostok. So there are the three ways they transport it. So now, a couple of days ago, one tanker, Korea, got stuck up in Baltic Sea. That tanker is supposed to go to Chikka, Gujarat. But because different monitoring agencies suggested that it cannot go due to a lot of tariff has been prevented, so it was a little bit insurance dilemma. So, due to insurance dilemma, other formalities that tanker could not be shifted to Chikka. Ultimately, it has landed up in Egypt.
Okay.
So now the situation is like that. This will go for temporary measure. Maybe it from 1.9 to we can come down to 1.6 million barrels per day from Russia, and there is a increase of booking of oil from US refinery from 2,26,000. It is going up to 4,50,000 barrels per day. So there is an increase in our participation of crude oil from US.
Okay. So the reduction in Russian procurement is, if I calculate correctly, is roughly 20%, right?
I couldn't exactly. I will tell you. These all these transportation from Russia does through shadow tanker. So big VLC, old tanker, less transportation cost because government has stopped windfall tax to government oil companies. So margin is coming down and down. So going for US, what will be the implication of insurance and margin one? So one refinery called Indian Oil Corporation, they had a floated tender about 24 million metric ton oil from first quarter of 1926. So they're mostly from US.
Sir, just interjecting here, Naira was using Russian crude a big way.
I
Naira
didn't got your
refinery.
point.
Naira refineries, the former SR
Now
refinery.
they had a real problem. Their oil has supposed to go to product has supposed to go to Eastern Europe. Now this they have find out some via media that product will go to Western Africa near Nigeria or go to Malta and then ship change and goes to Europe. So there is a via media is there, and neither most of the oil comes from Russia. That neither this is more than 28 to 30 million oil they generally do it. But question is that Reliance is switching over to other source in Middle East and US. That is not yet finalized, but there is a dilemma. But we will ultimately understand 21st of November because Rosneft and Lukoil, they have a ban. That's why the Baltic Sea oil, Ural oil not getting transferred.
Right, right. So, so we have to see how the global dynamics goes and how long the US sanction on Rosneft and etc. continues. So these are the the dynamic position. Sir, the second question and the most crucial question from Indian perspective. You are purchasing American crude. Now, understandably, this should increase the transportation cost of crude. This is
There is a call freight on board and delivery at the port. There is a cost difference asked there.
right.
One question is that there is a when spy department says that India is a little dilemma from Vladivostok oil because they have to pay in a Chinese yuan. So they are finding some via media from Rosneft through Hindustan Petroleum that yet to be finalized. So question is that still India is a dilemma for putting order to US because there is the cost will be increased. So I think we are finding some solution from Middle East. Mainly last month, about 6.9, I can say that OPEC has curtailing this oil production next December and to increase this price. By the time import from Saudi has increased more than 6.9%. But
So,
last
so,
month,
so if I can summarize what you are saying is you're saying that India is still in a dilemma as to what extent they will go for the American oil because of the cost impacts in transportation, number one. And you were saying that India is also exploring the Middle Eastern oil. Whether
there is another point is there that a recent visit to Chinese Prime Minister and Russian US President Trump, there seems to be some thawing down. There seems to be thawing down. So this Lukoil and Rosneft banning on 21st of November, it will go which way, not sure. But in that case, India will be little dilemma because this Vladivostok oil has to be bring now.
Okay.